Greetings from the Child Rights Center at Democrítìu University in the Thrace region. We are very proud and happy that a Child Rights Center has been established with Democrítìu University, and this is the third Child Rights Center in Greece. Today, our topic is the right to education. Nowadays, one would think that this is a basic right and it's very normal that any child would enjoy the right to education. But it has not been like this all the time. There was a struggle, a long struggle, all over the world to make sure that children enjoy their right to education. In ancient civilizations, only children who were affiliated and who belonged to privileged families were able to get their right to education. But with time, and especially in the 20th century, with the establishment of the League of Nations in 1919, with the establishment of the United Nations organizations in 1945, and with the also Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted by the UN General Assembly on 10 December 1948, and with all the also conventions adopted by UNESCO, the right to education became a basic right that every child should enjoy anywhere and all the time. The main convention that, of course, we all the time refer to is the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which was adopted on 20 November 1989 by the United Nations General Assembly, and it has become the convention which has got the highest number of ratifications amongst all human rights treaties. The Convention on the Rights of the Child dealt specially and specifically with the right to education in Articles 28 and 29. But, having said this, we should not forget that all the rights in the Convention apply to children when they are receiving education. And the four general principles of the Convention apply fully also to educational environments. For instance, the right to non-discrimination, which is stipulated in Article 2 of the Convention. This is a basic right which has to be applied all the time in education in terms of access to education. So no child, whether from minority group or from any background, no child would be discriminated against in terms of having access to education. At the same time, the principle of the right to life, survival and development is also at the heart of the right to education, because education should aim at the development of the personality of the child, as the first item of Article 29 of the Convention stipulates. The right to participation, the respect for the views of the child, which is stipulated in Article 12 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. This is at the heart of what we call today modern teaching and learning methods. This is at the heart of interactive education. And we know very well by now that education should be interactive. Education should be oriented towards the student experiencing the learning, because what we hear, we definitely forget. What we hear and see, we may remember. But what we experience, this is what we will definitely remember and we will apply as well. So education should revolve around the CAP theory: knowledge, attitudes, practice. So it does not aim only at providing knowledge to children, but it should aim, as Article 29 of the Convention mentions, it should aim at the development of the personality of the child. And this is directly linked to the fourth general principle of the Convention, which is the best interest of the child. The philosophy of the Convention on the Rights of the Child is how to achieve the best interest of the child. So, since we are talking today about the right to education, we have to keep in mind, we means teachers, school management, parents, ministries of education, international organizations, society, everyone. We should keep in mind that education should aim at the development, or the main objective of education should be the development of the personality of the child, which means being directed towards achieving the best interest of the child. How can we do that? First, it has to be a child rights-based education. An education which respects children. An education where no violence in schools. An education which respects gender, which respects age-appropriate curricula, which respects at the same time inclusion of all children into education. And this is one key element of a rights-based education, being an inclusive education. Children with disabilities, children of minority groups, children who do not have the same financial means as other children, children coming from a different social background, children coming from various grounds, all of them should have the same right to quality education. Because when we speak nowadays about the right to education, it should be directly linked and strongly linked and closely linked to quality education. So it's not anymore about a child going to a school. It's about a child going to a school which respects children, a school which aims at developing the personality of the child. And this is again linked to Article 6 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, about the right to life, survival, and development. The right to development means the right to a quality education, the right to be respected. And all these components together, they ensure a rights-based education, which cannot be of quality if it's not highly productive, highly interactive, highly efficient, and highly respectful to every child. How to achieve that? First, we should have curricula which are competency-based. So we stop looking at children who fail. No child would fail when the education is structured around competences. How many children left school, they were forced to leave school by the educational system, regressive educational system, by the school management, by a teacher who discriminates, and at the end we discovered that they became like very famous artists, or they invented something very, very important for humanity. Why? Because the educational system was not evaluating them based on competences. So we have to discover the abilities. We should not focus on disabilities. We should focus on abilities when we educate the children. But at the same time, when we focus on the competences, this means that every child would thrive somewhere. And by focusing on the competences, that's what it means that the curriculum or the curricula are structured and engineered this way, being competence-based curricula, but also there is a teacher who is well trained to deliver these curricula which are competency-based. And there's a school management which is also able and empowered to understand the rights-based approach, the highly interactive nature of education, and also the evaluation of the learning achievements based on the competences. So, in addition to access, we have to make sure that children attend meaningfully. And once we ensure the meaningful attendance of children, we have to monitor the learning achievements. And this is where education becomes an enjoyable journey for every child. This is where children feel respected. This is where children feel that they will succeed. They will definitely succeed. Some children would be better than others in some competences. This is very fine, as long as we are giving all children opportunities to grow, opportunities to develop. This is the right to education as we understand it nowadays. And nowadays, I mean after the Convention on the Rights of the Child, this very powerful international instrument which has changed the realities of children and about children all over the world. 196 countries have ratified this convention, and 196 countries are bound to implement the spirit of Article 28 and Article 29 of the Convention. A rights-based education, highly interactive, inclusive, and based on competences, based on the principle of the right to development, and aiming all the time at developing, all the time on having the development of the personality of every child as the main objective. Schools have to be child-friendly. To be child-friendly, the teacher should be child-friendly. The principal of the school should be child-friendly. The school management in general should be child-friendly, and the Ministry of Education everywhere in all countries should also be child-friendly. And the ministries of education have a key role as the key stakeholders to empower teachers, to empower school management, to raise awareness among parents about the rights-based education. I have been asked many times, and in many countries, how do you define a child-friendly school? My answer has always been a school to which the child goes in the morning smiling. That's a child-friendly school. A school which has a peaceful environment where children feel the psychological safety, where they don't feel that they are threatened by the teacher. They don't feel intimidated by the school management or the teacher or by other children by bullying them or by criticizing them when expressing their views. A school where every child feels free to express their thoughts, a school where the child is comfortable and learning with joy and happy to go and interact with other students, because schools are a great place for the socialization process of children. So let's make sure UNICEF, child rights centers, and schools, and stakeholders, all stakeholders, that schools are a safe place for children where they develop to their fullest potentials.